Hi everyone, welcome back. Hey, I thought it would be a fun idea to do something a little different today. I'd like to read you a story and then we put our detective hats on and solve the mystery. So this will be a mystery story. It's in the book, the scripture Sleuth. This is the second book. I have three of them by Halverson. I met him at a conference I had did years ago at a teacher's conference. But anyway, he has these stories in here. They're super fun. And it's just kind of a little mystery story. And then it gives you a Bible verse to look up to give you a clue on how to solve the mystery. So I thought, that'll be fun. I could read you the story. We could look up the scripture verse and see if we can't solve the mystery. So if you're into it, hang on, let's get started on it. So I'll have to throw on my glasses. Let's see what you think. All right, here we go. This one is called The Roller Play. There's not pictures in it other than just, so I'm going to just read this to you again. This is the book. I know that they are found on Amazon, so if you like these stories, you can pick up these books on Amazon. Okay, so The Roller Play. Here we go. Are you ready? I'm going to see me looking down a lot, but I think this will still be a fun little activity. Here we go. There was plenty of mysteries in the northwestern town of Pine Tops, and there was plenty of people who tried to solve them. But there was only one detective in town who could solve all the mysteries that no one else could. He was a scripture sleuth, and his name was Concord Cunningham. Concord could crack cases that stumped reporters, principals, and the best Pine Tops police detectives. It wasn't surprising that he became a local celebrity. What did surprise folks was that Concord didn't use a computer or a cell phone or even a detective kit to work his case. He used his Bible, which is what we're going to do. No matter what the mystery was, Concord could find a clue in the Bible to help solve it. As his reputation spread, more and more people called Concord by his nickname, the Concordance. Very, very appropriate, don't you think? Just like an actual concordance, Concord knew where certain words, stories, and objects were found in the Bible. I'd love to know my Bible that well that I can just go right to there and say, I know these words are right there. So be as good as a concordance. Wouldn't that be cool? He also knew how boring last year's annual school play had been. Even Principal Ironsides had fallen asleep in the front row of the audience. Ugh. That's why Concord sighed when his class was dismissed to the gym to see this year's play. I heard they're doing a roller play this year, Charlie Lohman said to Concord as the two friends gathered their books. Does that mean what I think it does? Concord asked. Yep, Charlie said. His messy hair bounced as he nodded. A roller play is acted out like a normal play, except all the actors and actresses are on wheels. Some use roller skates, some use inline skates, and some used skateboards. Concord chuckled as he zipped his backpack and slung it over his shoulder. Principal Ironsides must feel pretty bad about his nap attack during last year's play, Concord said. He's never allowed anything with wills in the schools. Now he's allowing it because he felt bad. That's funny. Yeah, Charlie agreed. I guess I'd feel bad too if people remembered my snoring more than the play. The two boys laughed as they followed their classmates to the crowded gym. Once inside, they quickly found their seats on the bleachers and observed the scene. The gym had been converted to a roller play theater. Old sheets had been sewed together to make an incredibly wide curtain. The curtain went from one side of the gym to the other, and it hung from a rope that was strung between the gym's two basketball hoops. Okay, that's okay. Soon the lights dimmed, the actors rolled out, and the first scene's battle was underway. The actors raced around the gym floors, calling out their lines and clashing their swords as they rolled. The audience loved it. Even Principal Ironside seemed to be enjoying himself as he sat in the front row. Then suddenly it happened. The curtain is collapsing. Students in the audience shouted at the actors, "Watch out!" But it was too late. The curtain and its rope had fallen to the ground, and five of the roller soldiers had rolled right into the collapsed curtain. The soldiers completely lost their balance and fell onto their swords. Fortunately, the swords were foam. The audience roared in laughter, and the rare grin on Principal Ironside's face quickly changed to his usual scowl. He rushed to the gym floor to see if any students were hurt, and only one student was injured, Ryan Swan. He was the star of the play. After a few minutes, Principal Ironsides quieted the audience and made an announcement. "I'm sorry to say that Ryan, who was General Germ, has sprained his ankle and won't be able to continue." He said. "Since General Germ is the main character, we're going to have to cancel the play for today. Please return to class." "Bummer," Concord said to Charlie as the entire audience moaned. "Yeah, big bummer," Charlie agreed. "I thought I was getting out of math class today." Concord lifted his backpack to his shoulder, and he and Charlie began climbing down the bleachers. And a few seconds later, just as they reached the gym floor, Abby Daniels grabbed Concord's wrist. "Come on, Concord, we need you," Abby blurted with a frown. Abby was the student director of the roller play. "What do you mean?" Concord asked. "This way," she said as she pulled the slim, sandy-haired boy across the gym. Concord waved goodbye to Charlie and tried to keep up with Abby's quick pace. "You have to figure out how Rodney did it," Abby said as she marched. She moved so fast that her long brown hair floated behind her. "Rodney Doomsey?" Concord asked. Rodney was the classmate who played mean tricks on the Pine Tops kids in the past. "Yes," Abby snarled. "The drama class spent weeks getting this play ready, and Rodney ruined it." "You think Rodney made the curtain fall?" Concord asked. "I know he did." "I just don't know how," Abby asked. "Rodney was backstage when the curtain rope snapped. I told Mr. Ironsides all about it, and he's talking to Rodney now. But I'm worried that Rodney's going to get away with it because I can't prove he did it." Abby led Concord straight to Principal Ironsides and Rodney, who were talking under one of the two basketball hoops. They were close to where the rope had snapped. The husky principal dwarfed Rodney, who was wearing his favorite oversized hockey jersey. "Cunningham," Principal Ironsides barked as he noticed the scripture sleuth standing beside him. "Did Abby drag you into this?" Concord began. "You bet I did," Abby interrupted. "Has Rodney confessed yet? He deserves to be in detention for the rest of his life." Rodney shook his head in disgust. "That curtain collapsed all by itself. I was sweeping the floor behind it when it fell." Mr. Ironsides folded his arms and scowled at Rodney. "What were you doing sweeping the floor during the play?" he asked. "You gave me broom duty this morning for bringing matches to school. Remember?" Rodney replied. Mr. Ironsides grumbled as he recalled the incident. Rodney still had the broom, and he leaned on it with his hands wrapped around the tip of the handle. "I must say I've done an excellent sweeping job," Rodney boasted. "This gym floor is spotless, except for that huge fallen curtain cluttering everything up." "Very funny, Rodney," Abby groaned. "I know you made the curtain fall. I saw you come out from behind the cardboard tower 2 seconds after the curtain went down." She pointed to the tall tower which stood a few feet away. It was part of the play's castle scenery, and it hid the nearby basketball hoop from the audience. Concord noticed that the rope had snapped directly behind the tower. If Rodney had snapped the rope, he could have done it behind the tower without being seen. I know what you're all thinking, Rodney said. You think that somehow I hid behind the tower and cut the rope, but there's no way I could have done that. The rope is tied to the basketball hoop, which is 10 feet up in the air. There's no way up there. Concord looked around for a ladder or anything that Rodney could have used to climb up to the rope. He saw nothing nearby, and a quick inspection showed that there was nothing hidden in the tower. Maybe you climbed the tower, Abby said. I couldn't have, Rodney said. He shook his head. The tower is too flimsy. Concord walked over to the tower for a closer inspection. It was all cardboard and very flimsy. Rodney was right. There was no way the tower could have supported his weight. So you see, Rodney boasted, even if I was behind the tower, I couldn't have made the curtain fall. Principal Ironsides began losing interest. It sounds like we won't know if Rodney did it or not, he said. The scowl tightened. Abby, you let me know if you get some proof that Rodney ruined your play. Right now, it looks more like an accident or a coincidence or, Abby moaned as Mr. Ironsides began walking away. Thanks, Mr. Ironsides, Rodney said with a phony smile. Keep doing a great job running our school. Rodney raised his hand to wave goodbye. As Rodney waved, Concord noticed that Rodney's palm was black. Concord's eyebrow rose in curiosity. Then Concord noticed at the top of the broom handle that Rodney's hand had been covering. The tip of the white broom handle was black also. Rodney looked down at the tip of the handle and quickly put his hand back over it. Concord's eyes opened wide as he began to remember a Bible passage. He dropped his backpack to the ground and pulled out his Bible. He flipped through the pages for a moment and then he put his finger on the verse. Abby, you better catch Mr. Ironsides, Concord said. Rodney did make the curtain fall. How can you prove it? Abby asked. With Judges chapter 16, verse 9. The concordance said. Rodney was very clever. So let's look up Judges chapter 16, verse 9 and see what we can find out. Okay, so Judges chapter 16, verse 9. I'm going to read out of the NLT version, and it says, She had hidden some men in one of the inner rooms of her house, and she cried out, Samson, the Philistines have come to capture you. But Samson snapped the bowstrings as a piece of string snaps when it is burned by fire. So the secret of his strength was not discovered. So what do you think? It snapped as if it was burned by fire. So how do we solve this mystery? Here it is. You can stop this video and discuss it with your family, or let's move on. So in Judges chapter 16, verse 9, it describes a string being snapped when it comes into contact with a flame. Rodney snapped the rope by burning through it. He hid behind the tower so no one could see him. Then he lit the end of the broom handle on fire. Mr. Ironsides must not have found all of Rodney's matches earlier that day. Rodney held the long broom handle up to the rope until the flame burned it through. Once the rope snapped, he pulled down the broom and blew out the flame. But he didn't hide all of the evidence. The end of the broom handle still had some black from burning, and some of the soot rubbed off on Rodney's hand when he tried to cover it. Rodney didn't get detention for the rest of his life as Abby had wished. However, Mr. Ironsides made him clean the cafeteria for 2 months. which is just as bad. So what do you think? Did you like our mystery story? Let me know what you think, and we can do some more of these. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.